All right. I'm here today with Jim Barnes, the owner of Big Sky Cycling. Jim, welcome to Helena Hustle.
All right. Thank you, Daniel.
Appreciate you coming. I've loved cycling my whole life. My dad, when we were young, he decided he was either going to get into golfing or mountain biking. And mountain biking wasn't super big back then. This was at least not for us. That was, I was going to say 20 years ago. It was closer to 30 years ago. It was 30 years ago. And he chose mountain biking because he said, you know what, that's something I think I can do with my kids more than golf. So you got
It's a great family sport. And I see a lot of, younger parents and kids taking it up.
Yeah. He bought himself an orange Specialized, I think it was a rock hopper, and he ended up putting a stem shock on it and a seat post shock.
So an early full suspension
yes.
bike.
So anyways, I'm really looking forward to our conversation, learning more about your business. But first things first, do you have your two truths and a lie ready for me?
I do. I know how to ride a unicycle.
Okay.
I was born and raised in Minnesota, and I have a forestry degree from University of Montana.
I'm going to say that you do not know how to ride a unicycle.
I do know how to ride a unicycle.
What was the lie?
The lie was I was not born and raised in Minnesota. I spent a lot of time there as a kid vacationing.
Who lives there?
Both pairs of grandparents.
Oh, okay.
My parents moved there later.
Okay.
So I've spent a lot of time there, but I was actually born in Green Bay and raised in Omaha mostly.
Oh, no kidding. Okay.
Yep.
So, I thought the unicycle one, you're trying to throw me off with that, but did that take a while to learn?
I picked that up in Omaha when I was 12 years old, went to the local bike shop, bought myself a Schwinn unicycle, and it took me a few weeks to get it rolling, I think.
I bet.
Yeah.
I think it was a Banff Film Festival. I saw this guy years ago that did like extreme unicycling, and it's crazy what some people can do on those things.
Yeah, we've had some employees and have some now that are just really good riders.
Okay. Yeah. And then a degree in forestry from U of M.
Right. That's what brought me out to Montana.
Okay.
Moved to Missoula and never looked back.
Yeah.
Loved it here in Montana.
Cool. Did you utilize your degree professionally?
No, I didn't. I was working at a bike shop to work my way through college in Missoula. It was a Big Sky Cyclery in Missoula when it was located on Higgins. And I had worked in a bike shop in high school too. So that was a business I knew, and I loved riding. As I graduated from forestry, which took me years to get through, I kind of knew there weren't many job opportunities there. And I really loved the bike business that I was in. So I just decided to continue with that.
What got you into biking?
As a kid, I guess I liked to ride and earned paper route money to buy a Schwinn 10-speed and delivered papers off of that, and started fixing bikes for the neighbors, and I just I enjoy the mechanical aspects and I enjoy the riding aspects, and I just love to get more people out riding.
Were you road biking mostly at that time? Is there mountain biking areas in Omaha?
There were no mountain bikes.
This
was 10-speed days in the 70s, actually, starting to show my age. But mountain biking started to take off while I was in Missoula. Okay. We were building some of our own mountain bike contraptions, actually. And then the major manufacturers started to build some mountain bikes, Schwinn and Specialized, and we're kind of following some some innovators in the mountain bike world, and that. So we really started mountain biking when I lived in Missoula. Okay. And when you and your dad picked it up, it was probably still kind of in its infancy.
Yeah, I was younger. I was pretty young when he first started. I was jealous because he'd take my older brother to Moab, and they'd go mountain biking and come back and tell me these amazing stories, but I was too young at the time. So
yeah, that's a great destination. I've been down there a few
times.
You?
Favorite trail?
Porcupine Rim is the one I can remember.
Yep. It's so epic.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. We used to go every year, and until last year we went to Sun Valley, Idaho, which was fun. But we kind of have this guys trip with me and my brother, my dad, and some friends, and we mountain bike and have a great time.
Yeah, that sounds like fun. I've got a annual ski trip with friends, but I don't have any set bike trips, I guess.
So you started when you were working in Missoula, started tinkering with mountain bikes and mountain biking. How did that develop for you?
You know, we were taking these old Schwinn frames, cruiser bikes that could fit fat tires, and we had them set up with either 3-speed hubs or 2-speed hubs, and really low gears so that we could climb hills, and we'd take them camping, and we'd take them up into the wilderness before we knew that wilderness was off limits for bikes. Nobody was riding bikes there. And so they were kind of machines made to go uphill, and then we'd just coast our way back down the trail. So there wasn't much gear range. And then we noticed in magazines that other people were doing similar things in Colorado and California, and that was kind of the start of the whole mountain bike possibilities. And they were building them differently, and we'd take some ideas from them. And but finally, the bigger companies started to catch on that this was a fun thing, and it was pretty. People were surprised to see people on bikes on trails. That was very unique in the late 70s and early 80s when we were doing that.
Cool. I don't know too much about the history of mountain biking. Something I find fascinating is, it's a mechanical piece of equipment. There's minimal electronics, yet if it's 5 years old, it's almost obsolete with all the things they're figuring out, different physics and angles, and widening the handlebars and changing the wheel diameter and tire thickness.
Yeah, it's evolved, since the 80s, and every year there's some slight improvements, and you just go 5 or 6 years and the bikes get a lot better over that amount of time.
Do you see that slowing down as we kind of master the bike, or does that seem like a pretty steady trajectory?
It's still a pretty steady trajectory. There's slight changes every year, and they don't, it's not dramatic from one year to the next, but if you look at it over 5 years or 10 years, it seems to be improving. That just better shock absorbers, more reliable brakes,
lighter.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
The handling things, like you mentioned, the handlebars, the geometry changes, evolve.
Some things are more fad, the
climbing bars,
the straight up bar ends. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a Jamis Dakar. I was in college. I was very poor, and we went to a bike shop, and my brother's like, "Oh, let's look at this Jamis. I have one. I like it." And I'm like, there's no way I can afford a bike. It was a full suspension. And anyways, long story short, the salesman came out after being gone for like 15 minutes. We're waiting to find out the price of this bike. He's like, I had no idea, but this bike's like $350. He said, we're just trying to get rid of it. If I would have known, I would have bought it myself. So I snatched it up, and I had that bike for 10 years until I broke the fork, and it wasn't really worth replacing.
Yeah.
I got a new bike, and it's completely night and day difference riding a 29-inch wheels, and everything's different, and it's really fun what you can handle.
The mountain bikes, they do evolve pretty quickly, and so I've changed bikes about every 1 to 2 years.
Okay.
The bike I'm on currently has been a great one. It's a Trek Fuel EX, and I've had it for 4 years.
Okay.
I will finally replace that this spring.
Okay. Do you know what you're getting?
I'm going to get a Pivot Switchblade, which is a really versatile bike for around here. Another full suspension. I've been riding full suspension mountain bikes for probably 20 years now.
Okay. Is that company based out of Arizona?
It is.
Pivots?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
nice.
They're out of Tempe, Arizona. actually going to go down and see their facility where they design them and they do their prototyping and do some partial assembly of bikes right there in Phoenix.
When are you doing that?
End of this month in January.
Cool. My dad was just last weekend down in Phoenix and he hit some trails down there. So do you guys carry pivots?
We carry Pivot.
Oh, cool.
And they're a really progressive, excellent high-end bike.
Right. So how did you go from working in your Big Sky Cyclery in Missoula to owning Big Sky Cycling here in Helena?
Well, I worked in Missoula for a guy, Paul Simpson, who owned that shop. I worked there for 10 years. As I went through college, I really enjoyed the work. Mostly was a mechanic there. He would force me to help customers at times, and so I learned more about that. But he was running his shop, and I could see that, to really move on, I would probably need to own a shop somewhere, because he had his end of it pretty well handled.
Right.
And it was recommended by the Schwinn representative. We were a Schwinn shop at that time, that Helena would be a good market for another Schwinn shop. And so I knew all about Schwinns from my days in Missoula and prior to that back in Illinois. But anyways, I started looking around at Helena. It took about a year and a half to really find a good location that I liked. And people then were saying, don't move downtown. Downtown Helena is dead. This was mid 80s. And it was kind of, people were moving out of there. The Capitol Hill Mall was relatively recent on 11th Avenue. And so we picked up a location right across the street from the mall.
Okay.
And we were in a small little strip mall location. Another place opened up next door to us that was even bigger, so we expanded in a couple of years. And we started carrying, we were carrying Schwinn bicycles, which were great at that time. We picked up Gary Fisher bicycles, which were kind of a innovative mountain bike line. And then, things just changed over the years. Schwinn kind of went bankrupt a couple times, different owners, and we kind of got out of that line and picked up Giant, which we carry now, which is a very nice quality, good value bike. And we later picked up Trek bicycles, which as we moved into our current location, which is much bigger, we picked up Trek and were able to add them to the mix.
Yeah. What's your address now?
801 North Last Chance Gulch. So
it's a great spot right on the corner there.
Central to Helena. It's easy to find. We've got parking around 3 sides of the building. We were able to purchase that building and remodel it to make it specifically into a bike shop.
Fantastic.
And it's worked out really well.
So what year were you founded here in Helena?
1986. We opened in January.
37 years ago.
Yes.
That's when I was born.
Wow. Okay. So you'd know the year.
Yeah. Cool.
And then we moved downtown about 13 years ago.
Okay.
Or it was 2010 we moved there.
So 36 years in business plus everything that you did before then. Are there any key lessons or learning opportunities that you could share? As far as like owning and operating a business?
Got to be honest with people, straightforward. Your reputation lasts a long time, so that's probably the most important thing.
Absolutely.
Being straightforward. Yeah.
How would you describe Big Sky Cycling?
We like to be easygoing, easy to understand. We don't try to tech people to death with all the little nuances of bicycles. I mean, if people want to know the ins and outs, we've got that knowledge, but we just like to make it simple and fun and get, like one company says, more butts on bicycles.
So how do you do that?
We teach people. We try to get them set up right the first time with the right kind of equipment for where they want to go. so they have a good experience. And if they have fun with it, they'll keep doing it. Maybe they'll come back for another bike or get the family set up with bikes. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite trail that you like to ride around Helena?
There's, great trails in the South Hills. That's where I ride mostly because it's so convenient.
Oh yeah.
Probably the Ridge Trail is still a favorite, and that's one that we kind of discovered as soon as I moved to Helena. We'd ride the ridge backwards, not really knowing where it started, and we'd just, climb our way as far as we could and then turn around and come back to town.
That's awesome. Yeah, you're one of the pioneers here.
There were just a few people mountain biking, the other bike shop owner and his buddies and me and my buddies and my employees. And yeah, we were kind of working it out, logging roads or actually mining roads and motorcycle trails and linking them together.
Yeah, very cool. Now, you had mentioned that Big Sky Cycling also offers some other products that apart from bikes. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, in the winter we continue to service and sell bikes. That's still our mainstay. But in the winter we've carried hockey gear for about 20 years, and then we've carried some figure skates for the figure skating crowd. We even had a small skate store in the Helena Ice Arena.
Okay.
Probably kept that open for 5 years. When we moved in our bigger location, we just brought it all back together. And we also carry a line of Nordic skates that we import from Holland.
Cool.
And they're a long blade not figure skate, but a speed skate.
How long?
The blades are about 2 feet long.
Oh, dang.
And they're fast, and people use them here. Helena's perfectly suited for Nordic skating, which is out on natural ice. Canyon Ferry, Hauser, the Holding Reservoir, different bodies of water around here freeze at different times, and we've got really good opportunity to do long distance skating like that. And so that's become a little niche along with the hockey gear.
Cool.
I'm a hockey player.
Okay.
My son, I got my son into it, and he really got into it. And so that's when we started carrying hockey gear 25 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So when you say long distance skating, how long is somebody going out for?
A short day for me is 10 miles. A longer day would be 20 or more.
Okay.
So it's kind of like cross country skiing, but it glides better and it's a little faster.
How is it coming into a headwind?
It's just like riding a bike into a headwind. You kind of tuck and you persevere, and then you turn around and you go really fast back.
Yeah, ideally, right? It's worst when you start with the wind at your back and then you're tired and turn around and you don't realize how strong it is.
Yeah, you kind of pay attention to
you don't have to learn that lesson too many times.
Yep, that's like road biking a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the wind does blow out there. Occasionally you'll turn around and the wind switches on you, and then you're battling it both ways.
Yeah. So with biking, let's say mountain biking in specific, is there a piece of advice that you would give to somebody who's just getting into it or considering getting into it?
I guess if you're buying a mountain bike or you're interested in starting mountain biking, be prepared to pick up some accessories, necessary things to go along with that. Just helmet, protective gloves,
bike pump,
tire be prepared
irons.
For a flat tire.
Yeah, flat tires.
Yep. So we try to, get people set up with that equipment right off the bat, so they don't go out 12 miles out of town, you have a flat tire and you're hiking back 12 miles instead of coasting downhill 12 miles.
Right.
So yeah, just be prepared for eventualities. It's a fun sport. You have to kind of build up to it. It takes some stamina. But it's so close here and so convenient. we teach kids mountain bike classes.
Oh, no kidding.
And, kids anywhere from 7 to 12 years old.
Mm-hmm.
My wife kind of started this when she was working at the shop. And it's really expanded into a bunch of classes every summer. It's a couple hours in the morning for 1 week. And we have Mountain Bike 101, 201, and MTB 301 now, as they get better and better and stronger riders. So,
is that found on your website?
We do announce it on the website. It's summertime classes for kids.
Mm-hmm.
We usually announce the dates in March, and we'll send a newsletter out to customers to kind of. We get a lot of repeats on that, and it fills up quick. So, if people have kids and they're interested in getting them in that, check in with us in March
sounds awesome.
Or sooner. Get your name on the email list, and you'll get info on it.
Yeah, cool. Well, Jim, if somebody wanted to learn more about your business or do business with you guys, what's the best way for them to find you, get in touch with you?
We respond to email. It's pretty simple, jim@bigskybikes.com. Our website is bigskybikes with an S on it, .com.
Okay.
To delineate us from the Missoula Big Sky, which is still there. And all our inventory is on our website, so you can see what's available. But we'd like to just have you come in and visit, 801 North Last Chance Gulch. I tell people that's across the side street from the Bagel Company. We're not all the way downtown, but easy to find right along Last Chance there. Yeah.
Perfect. Great. Well, hey, thanks so much, Jim. This has been a great conversation.
All right. Thank you, Daniel. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah.